Hey, welcome back into Eye on Agriculture. I'm Britton Rucker. Antibiotic use in livestock has been used for more than 60 years, such as mastitis, respiratory and foot diseases, and so on. The big issue now is antibiotic resistance. We're bringing in K-State dairy specialist Mike Brouk to discuss this more. Mike, how can we reduce the use of antibiotics in our dairy?
Well, in many of our dairies, we've been working on this actually for a long time, and we look at more judicious use of antibiotics. And, some of the things we're looking at today is in the area of mastitis treatment. Many of our dairies now actually do bacterial analysis prior to actually giving an antibiotic to make sure that the antibiotic that we give is actually going to be effective against the organism that we're trying to fight. So there are things like that that have reduced the amount of antibiotics that we generally use on the dairy. We've got some other changes in, the rules and regulations that cover antibiotic use, not only in the dairy industry, but also in the animal industry in general, that will also make us use our antibiotics more judiciously and more appropriately.
Now, big question here. How can we actually avoid the need for antibiotics? Or in other words, how do we keep our animals healthy?
Well, that goes to a lot of different factors, obviously. And, the number one thing we can do is first strengthen their immune systems by our nutrition programs and what we're doing with vitamin and micro mineral supplementation, mainly. A little bit on the macro minerals, but mostly when we talk about immune system, we'd be talking about micro mineral supplementation. And then the other major thing is just reducing overall stress. Anytime animals are under heat stress, cold stress, in poor environmental conditions, chances of having issues with certain bacteria, whether it be respiratory or other things, increases. And to that end, trying to reduce the exposure to these pathogens. So having clean pens and clean places for animals to rest that protects them from exposure to various organisms is another major thing that we need to emphasize to try to keep our animals healthy.
Absolutely. Mike, any other quick things that people and producers need to keep in mind?
Yeah, so we've had some changes in the laws that govern how we utilize antibiotics on our animal operations. And starting in June, we went to a situation now where in order to use antibiotics in animals, including dairy animals, we do have to have a approved and prescription from a licensed veterinarian to do that for the specific purpose that we're giving the antibiotics. So most operations, particularly dairy operations, already had veterinary client agreements with a local veterinarian to work with their dairy in order to write prescriptions for a dairy or any other livestock operation. The veterinarian would have to have a signed client relationship document that makes sure that there's an actual relationship between the veterinarian and the livestock operation. So veterinarian needs to be visiting that operation and then writing the appropriate prescriptions for antibiotics that might be needed to treat animals that have come down with some sort of bacterial infection.
Well, Mike, all good things to keep in mind. Thanks so much for coming on and chatting with us today. Everyone, stick around. Eye on Ag. We'll be back after the break.